Dear prep2, this is the continuity of Jane's life at Lowood School. Jane had found a suitable friend for her. Her friend is called Helen Burns. She was elder than her. She found that she is a good friend for her because both of them have the same hobby or the same interest, which is reading. After a few months, many of the girls at Lowood School became seriously ill. Why did the girls at Lowood School become ill? For two reasons. First, because they didn't have enough food, especially in winter. They have burnt food or a little piece of bread. Also, they didn't have warm clothes in the winter. That's why most of them become ill. Lesson stopped, and I and the other girls who were not ill spent all our time out in the fields near the school. The weather was now warm and sunny. It was a happy time for us, but my friend Helen Burns was not with us. She had to stay in bed. She was very ill. Helen Burns, like the rest of the girls, became ill because she didn't eat well, there wasn't enough food, and also because she wore thin clothes. One evening, I went to Miss Temple's room. We said that Miss Temple is a very kind and pretty lady working at Lowood School. She usually helped the girls there. Helen Burns was lying there in a little bed. She was now very thin, and her face was white. She spoke to me in a low voice. "Jane," she said, "it's good to see you. I want to say goodbye to you." "Why?" I asked her. "Are you going away?" "Yes, I am," Helen answered. "I'm going far away." This means that it's foreshadowing that Helen Burns was going to die. That night she died. During that summer, many other girls in the school died too. Mr. Brocklehurst sold the school and it became a happier place. Mr. Brocklehurst was the one who was in charge of Lowood School. He was unkind and he didn't buy warm clothes for the girls or enough food for them. That's why most of them died. Then he sold the school to new owners, and these owners were kinder than him. I stayed at the school until I was 18, and then I had to find a job. I wanted to become a teacher. I wrote a letter to a newspaper. I said I was a young teacher who wanted a job working in a family. Then I waited for an answer. At last, an answer came. It was from a lady, Mrs. Fairfax, who lived at a place called Thornfield Hall. She needed a teacher for a little girl, so I packed my clothes in a small bag and traveled to Thornfield Hall. This is the end of the second phase in Jane Eyre's life. The first phase was with her relatives, the only relatives that she knew, Mrs. Reed, her aunt, and her three cousins. And it was a terrible phase in her life. She was so miserable with them. They treated her unkindly and they didn't like her. The second phase was at Lowood School, where she found Helen Burns, the only one she had as a friend, and she died there. The circumstances at Lowood School were terrible. The weather was so cold. The place was uncomfortable. The girls died because they didn't have enough food or warm clothes, and she felt miserable too there. Now we are going to start another phase, a third phase in Jane's life, with new characters and a new setting.